I don't hate Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Actually, I liked it for a while. If you notice, probably in the sidebar of this video, there's a lot of my videos that I posted about that game. Actually, 2 of them are really popular as well, which was kind of crazy. Those are like my first really popular videos. My actual first 100K video was a Duel Links video, so it's worth mentioning that I don't hate Duel Links. However, I haven't played it in months, I haven't posted about it in even longer, and I don't really plan on doing that. We're going to talk about why in today's video. So first off, it's worth noting that Duel Links and the TCG aren't really the same game. They use a lot of the same cards, obviously. I don't think there's any Duel Links exclusive cards, but the entire structure, not only of the game board and the summoning mechanics in it, not only are those things different, but just how you play is different. How you obtain cards is different. The fact that you have to buy packs to get cards and it sort of has that free-to-play setup is a lot different than if I wanted to play any Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I could actually, Yu-Gi-Oh TCG deck, I could just go buy the singles and then play it at a tournament without having to spend hundreds of dollars on packs or without having to grind out tons of matches to actually get those cards. And I will say that if you play Duel Links, there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people wanted to escape the sort of competitive and fast and extra deck based nature of the modern TCG, and they wanted to get back to a simpler time. And it's not quite old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a lot slower and a lot less complicated. Duel Links actually does have a lot of interesting mechanics going on, and there are some cards that are really good in Duel Links that aren't really good in the TCG, or weren't really good in the TCG when they were released, and I think that's really interesting as well. It's just not for me, and we're going to talk about that in today's video. So first off, yes, I enjoyed the game when it came out. It was a lot simpler back then compared to now. There were basically 2 best decks. It was Water, which was based on like combos, and there was Dinosaurs, which was just like a beatdown deck. And from what I've been told, Dinosaurs still kind of exists as just a normal beatdown deck. I think the cards they play are different, but the actual just style of like level 4 monsters attacking into things is like the same strategy now as it was like 8 months ago or whatever. So that's kind of interesting, but overall, I know Duel Links metagame has changed quite a bit. I see the Duel Links videos posted on like House of Champs with Billy Break, and it seems like they're getting a lot better cards, and it seems like they're getting cards really, really fast. I don't know how people keep up with those releases. They must be dropping a lot of cash, but anyway, I don't really enjoy playing Duel Links for a lot of reasons. I enjoy the extra deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's one of my biggest selling points from the game for me. I really like that you can sort of always have access to something without having to draw certain cards. I think it makes a lot more decks viable, and it's really interesting. A lot of decks that I play really do depend on the extra deck. Frogs are cool because it's totally awesome. Burning Abyss is cool because of Dante. But I think that Duel Links, I mean, it has like fusions, and that's interesting, but most of the decks don't really use those cards from what I've seen. I mean, like Cyber Angels are ritual based, and I think that they have like Archfiends right now are pretty good. I don't really understand the Duel Links metagame, but I know that they're not, it's not just all fusion decks. That's not like it's not like just because fusion's the only summoning mechanic that's like the most overpowered summoning mechanic. It seems like just better main deck cards are where most people are going. And yeah, I like Duel Links as like a novelty. It was cool to go back and sort of play a simpler format, but I just got bored. Part of the reason is because I don't enjoy playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Online at all. Part of the reason is because the UI of every single online Yu-Gi-Oh! Game is just so inferior to a game like Hearthstone. Hearthstone tries really, really hard to make the cards feel like they're real cards, and that's important for a game that's online only. With Yu-Gi-Oh!, a lot of times that I was playing it with like online and any sort of form in Dueling Book or Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro or Duel Links, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to have to click on a card and then press summon or set. It feels good in Hearthstone to click a card and drag it onto the board and drop it just like you would in real life. And I think that it's difficult to do that in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, but I also think that it's worth mentioning because Hearthstone feels good to play. Duel Links and other online games, which most of them are unofficial, do not feel good to play. Yu-Gi-Oh! Feels good to play in real life for me. And yeah, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was that there's a recent video on Farfa's channel. I don't know if you guys have seen him, but he was talking about why Yu-Gi-Tubers often don't have time to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That might sound kind of weird, but what ends up happening is you spend like all day making a Yu-Gi-Oh! Video and you spend all day editing, and when you get done with that, you don't really want to go and play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you're kind of Yu-Gi-Oh'd out for the day. So the same thing happens with Duel Links. I don't want to edit all day like real Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos and then go on my phone and play some Duel Links. No, I want to play anything else. I want to play Overwatch. I want to play Hearthstone. I want to play something that's not Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is my job, and that doesn't necessarily apply to every Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. That's just Yu-Gi-Tubers. But I think it's worth noting for me specifically why I don't post Duel Links content. I don't have the time to keep up with two formats of almost the same but not quite the same Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially when one is just not interesting to me. And the Duel Links grind is real. From all the comments that I've seen from Duel Links players or ex-Duel Links players, the grind to get gems is definitely something that negatively impacts a lot of players unless you're willing to shell out a lot of money. And I simply don't care enough to do that. It's not that I hate Duel Links or the tournament structure, but it just doesn't feel rewarding to me to spend gems on packs. And when I compare it once again to Hearthstone, yes, you have to buy packs as well, but you can trade cards, well, you can dust cards to get rid of them and then get cards that you actually want. I don't think, actually, I know Duel Links has not had that system. The closest thing is battling like the what is it called? The battling like the duelists at the gates to like get a chance to get specific cards, or going to the card trader and trading gold for specific cards. But there's no way to get rid of extra cards and trade them for like any card in the game. It's just whatever the card trader has, which isn't always like the best stuff from at least what I can remember. But more importantly, the reason that you don't want to post Duel Links to a Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG channel or Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG/OCG channel is because they are those different games. You're always alienating like half your audience with every single video. So let's say I post a Duel Links video, well, now a whole bunch of TCG players don't want to watch it, so they just skip that video, and that video now gets less views. And then I post a TCG video, but now I have some new Duel Links subscribers, so they see the new video and they're like, I don't understand anything that's going on, so I don't want to watch this video. So then they skip that video, and that just keeps happening. So over time, you split your audience, and it doesn't quite work. And card game channels are different from video game channels in that way, because a lot of times video game channels, they just have like a variety of video games, but it seems like with card games specifically, it's really hard to sort of post two card games on one channel. I can't think of a single Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel that has done that successfully. Almost all the ones that have started posting Dragon Ball Super or Pokemon or anything along those lines, even the ones that have posted Duel Links, they're not doing so hot. It definitely tanks the views and it loses you subscribers, because I believe that when you're a YouTuber, every video has to be fighting for your audience to watch it. If you start to get lazy, if you start to get complacent and you don't post things that are actually trying to get people to watch them and be interesting and watch the whole thing, well, then you're not doing your job, if it is your job. And in that case, I don't think that Duel Links videos are fair. I don't think that if I was someone that is watching a YouTuber that plays a TCG, I don't think I'm going to click the Duel Links videos. Actually, I know that it doesn't work. We can look at House of Champs, a channel that is structured not quite the same as mine, but to a similar audience, maybe a little more competitive than I am. And when he posts Duel Links content, even though it has Billy Break, one of the most well-known and well-loved players from the TCG, even though Billy Break is in there, just because it's Duel Links, people hate it. I mean, the likes and dislikes are so awful, the views are really bad, and it's just like, it's not expanding the audience. I get a lot of comments from people saying, oh, if you post Duel Links, like, you're reaching a wider audience. And like the Duel Links YouTubers aren't really Yu-Gi-Tubers. They don't talk to any of us, and it's because they're basically playing a different game. There's not really the difference between a Yu-Gi-Tuber and like a Duel Links YouTuber is pretty much the same differences between a Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber and a Hearthstone Yu-Gi-Tuber or a Hearthstone YouTuber. It's kind of tricky, and it might not make sense if you're like, well, they're like playing with all the same cards. Just the style of videos is very different. If you look at like some of the bigger Duel Links channels like Shady Penguin, he's never going to talk to any of us. Like, he doesn't know what the current format in TCG is, just in the same way that I don't understand what the current format in Duel Links is. He knows that he doesn't have enough time to keep up with an in-real-life card game and an online card game, so he just keeps up with the one that he enjoys the most. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think if he started posting... So what would happen is if he started posting TCG videos, is he would probably be so behind on like the metagame that it would not only alienate the people that are watching Duel Links videos on his channel, they'll be like, well, I don't want to watch this, but also the people that are TCG players would realize that he's not very competitive in the TCG, so then they would stop watching too. So it's not really appealing to any audience. It's just sort of cutting out people from the channel, which is like pretty bad. But I do want to say, sort of as a final note here, a lot of the things that I talk about in my videos, while they are directly referring to the TCG, many of the strategies and the ideas that I'm saying can be applied to Duel Links. I get those comments all the time where people talk about how when I'm discussing like card advantage or tempo, or if this card is good or bad in context with another card, they say that they can use those sort of strategies that I'm talking about and apply them to Duel Links, even though the card pool and the game design is different than the current TCG. And I think that's like good. I think that's something that doesn't really work the other way around. I don't think you can learn a lot from the modern TCG by looking at Duel Links things. There are some things to learn, but in general, just because it's because the modern TCG has more cards available, so there's more strategies you can talk about, or with Duel Links, because it's a smaller card pool, a lot of the cards that are good in that game, a lot of strategies that work in that game don't translate to modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Although it's not to say there's nothing you can learn, it's just there's not a lot you can learn. But anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap up my video. The takeaways here are that I'm probably never going to do Duel Links videos again, and maybe I'll play it someday, but not likely. I know they have cards like Paleozoics now, I know they have like Gem Knights, which is cool, but even that kind of stuff doesn't really get me interested in playing it. Sadly, I just don't have the time or the desire to sit down and grind out hundreds of hours or hundreds of dollars for cards that I'm never going to see in real life, when I could just buy those same cards for like $100 without spending any time and just get those cards in real life to play in real life decks. And yeah, I mean, some people will probably be angered by this video, but I am trying to say that Duel Links isn't like terrible. It's just not for me, and it's not for my channel. So hopefully that explains some things. Keep watching if you're a Duel Links only player. Like I said, a lot of things that I say can be applied to Duel Links. I'm probably just not going to ever mention like Duel Links metagame or try to put the cards that I look at in the context of how good they are in Duel Links, because I'm so far detached from that metagame. Anyway though, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.